Welcome to the In My Opinion show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends. Seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. With us we have a special guest, actually two special guests. We have Dr. Recco Santee Richardson, PhD, and we have Reverend Patricia McQueen. Welcome to the In My Opinion show.
Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Recco Santee Richardson, PhD, was born and raised in Flint, Michigan. He and his four siblings graduated from Flint Community Schools. He earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business from Ferris State University. He earned a Master's of Arts in Counseling Education from Central Michigan University. He also graduated from Walden University with a doctorate degree in professional psychology. In 1990, he began implementing human services programming, supervision, and program management duties within the workplace. He has mentored some of Genesee County's most outstanding counselors, case managers, supervisors, and directors. In 2005, he pioneered Recco S. Richardson Consulting Incorporated, a multifaceted human services agency that provides effective mental health services, seminars, and research. The organization is registered with the state of Michigan as a mental health service provider. Currently, over 500 persons per month are serviced through its two offices in Genesee County. Dr. Richardson was licensed as a minister in 1987 and ordained an elder in 1992. He has held virtually every position in the local church setting, including youth pastor, janitor, associate pastor, singles minister, outreach coordinator, etc. A licensed professional counselor, state of Michigan, and a diplomat, American Psychotherapy Association. He has a keen eye towards helping individuals remove emotional and social barriers. Dr. Richardson has over 20 years of counseling experience, 10 years of clinical supervision experience, and 10 years of college adjunct faculty experience. He has authored several books and scholarly articles. He has been interviewed by local TV stations and newspapers as well. He has performed keynote addresses and workshop training throughout America. That's quite a feat, Doctor.
Well, I've been at it for a while, so it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, well, congratulations, and I applaud you for your mainstay in this, and and helping folk is something that I like to do myself. But I'll leave it to you professionals.
Yeah.
Okay, and Reverend McQueen, do your thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. First of all, I want to say to Dr. Richardson that it is an honor and a privilege to have you here today, and I do appreciate you taking out the time in your busy schedule to be here.
It's good to be here.
First thing I wanted to talk about is start by giving some statistics. And I have some statistics here on sexual abuse in children and their ages. And maybe you can tell me if these are accurate or not. Now, statistics say that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 7 boys are sexually abused before they reach the age of 18. 1 out of 5 college women and more than 60% of pregnant teens are usually abused, and less than 20% never tell. Can you elaborate?
Those numbers that you quoted sound pretty accurate. Having been in the field for the last 20 years or so and working with victims of sexual abuse, neglect, and on the college campus in the community, that those numbers are pretty accurate. The thing about sexual abuse is not just the actual act of penetration or rape, but it could be any type of inappropriate advances, touching, fondling, setting up or grooming individuals to in the future be abused by someone who's usually several years older. And so those are just the statistics that have been reported, and people who have talked about it. God knows how many people have never ever told or reported, or who were who told but were not believed. So those numbers sound pretty good, and it's a rising problem, not just here in America, but throughout the world. The treatment of children and adolescents when it comes to sexual interactions.
Why do people, why would you say that people react the way they do to when they've been told that one of their loved ones or a child or anyone has been sexually abused, and then they react, and it's usually denial. They may even defend the perpetrator, or pretend it never happened, or try to tell you to get over it.
Right. Well, there's some subjects that most individuals are just not comfortable discussing. Sex and intimacy is one. Money is another. Death is another area that individuals tend not to be real comfortable discussing. So the natural reaction when you discuss those three topics is denial or to minimize. When it comes to sexual abuse and reporting it to loved ones, that's a hard pill to swallow for some people, because it automatically sort of puts it out there that someone has failed to protect me. Someone has failed to guard my innocence. Someone has failed to provide structure and stability for me. So the adult that's hearing that, or the loved one that's hearing it, is automatically examining themselves, and it's not a pleasant feeling to be put on the spot like that, especially when it comes to your sexual character. That's considered to be a very private, personal area, our sexual character and our sexual needs, and you can catch a lot of people off guard. So there will be the denying, there will be the minimizing, there will be the "that's not true, stop lying," because it's something that a lot of people are not comfortable discussing in general.
And what can we do to, because this really needs to stop. It really needs to be addressed as far as our children, and not just our children, men, women, whoever is sexually abused. It really needs to stop. No secrets. It needs to be come out, and it needs to be told, and people need to accept the fact, protect our children from what's been happening to them.
There are a few areas that really can stymie and hold individuals back from their full potential in their current age and in the future. One would be the loss of a parent at an early age. Can really cause you to stumble and crawl throughout life quite a bit. The other could be a traumatic experience, such as a car accident. Right up there with it is sexual abuse. And we cannot continue to create environments or allow opportunities for our children and our teenagers, our boys and our girls, to be molested, fondled, raped. We have to draw the line, and we have to take a stand. And there are many organizations out in the community that are preaching it, that are addressing it, but we need more people that are committed to making sure this doesn't happen to another child.
Okay. Now, Dr. Richardson, tell me this. What would you say to someone who says, I was raped, but I'm over it now? Is there such thing as getting over sexual abuse?
It's possible to maintain a solid, productive life after you've been sexually abused or raped. I don't think we ever get over many things. We learn to cope, we learn to be productive, we learn to move forward in spite of. When you are violated, whether it's by a gunshot or by rape or by racism, it's one of those things you learn to live with, but you're always conscious of it. It's part of your daily experience, it's part of your mental health and your psyche. So you can move forward, you can be productive, you can be happy, you can be fulfilled as an individual, but it would always be there. Whether you repress it or not, or whether you talk about it or not, it's a part of your experience. And some people can move forward with no problems. Other people stumble day in and day out. But to be totally over it, I don't see how that's really possible. But to be totally free within yourself and able to maintain meaningful relationships and to be productive in the workplace, that surely can happen.
Mr. Robinson, you have anything you want to
No, go right ahead. I'm interested in your subject matter or your questions.
Okay. Dr. Richardson, could you please share with us some of the lingering effects of after being abused?
Well, it would be pretty much every one of the symptoms you would see in our manual for diagnosing mental health illness. The 4 or 5 that stand out really for me would be sadness and depression. That is a main one, that sense of worry and dread that is internalized, that causes your emotions to be repressed. There will be the opportunity where you'll feel inadequate as an individual, feel that you cannot, have very low self-esteem, or you go to the extreme and be too confident, almost arrogant, to make up for what you feel is inadequate within yourselves. A lot of nightmares, night terror, poor sleeping habits, insomnia, eating disorders come along with having been sexually abused, because if you were attractive and young when it happened, to protect yourself from that happening again, you may intentionally become overweight. You may intentionally become unattractive to ensure or to hope that no one would take advantage of you again. However, there are others who become very loose sexually because instead of someone taking it this time, I'm going to just give it before you have to take it. These are how people cope with having been sexually abused. The symptoms, I mean, you got the dread, you got the fear, you got the anxiety, you got the inability to show and give love. You just kind of locked down. There's a strong sense of alienation and isolation, being withdrawn, trouble trusting people, or just loosely trusting everyone and falling into a pattern of unhealthy relationships. So it goes on and on and on for the most part.
Now, sometimes I'm going to ask you why you chose your profession, because sometimes we choose our professions by our experiences, and sometimes we just choose them following in someone else's footsteps, and we get like, damn, Mom. So tell me, what inspired you?
I ended up in the field of counseling and psychology by happenstance. I was a business major in college, and I had planned to be in corporate America. But when I got my first job at Fair State University, working in student affairs, just working with students to make sure they get enrolled, stay enrolled, and graduate, I began to realize that there was lots of barriers that went beyond education, went beyond the grammar. It was just certain basic things that were not in place. And these were some of your top students from throughout America who were struggling academically because emotionally they weren't as healthy. That's what caught my attention. That's what pulled me back from going into retail in corporate America into the health and human services. I would have never imagined as a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 18-year-old that I would end up in the field of psychology doing counseling and interventions. That's not something I would have moved towards. But it is where I am now, and I appreciate it. My hope and goal is that we can be more intentional in steering students and adults towards the health and human services, because we need good workers. We need qualified individuals who have a passion and a heart for helping people get over the barriers that they're experiencing.
I have a question, Dr. Richardson. Why is there so much sexual abuse in the churches?
Within the church, you'll find an increased amount because there's very little structure and very little systems in place to prevent it from happening in the church. At least within the school setting, you've got security guards, you've got parapros, you've got a protocol. If you thought a child was being sexually abused, you reported to this, you reported to this. You have a form that you can fill out for here. There's a line that you can call. There's all these systems in place in the workplace for sexual harassment. But when you get to the local church, there tends not to be a system in place for reporting, for responding. There are no forms to fill out. Who would a little kid in Sunday school go and tell that the janitor at the church went up my dress? Who's going to believe her? So within the church setting, we have almost fostered an environment that is conducive for it. Now, in the last 10 years, we've seen an increase in efforts to educate church members and leaders about the detriments of sexual abuse and how to keep children safe and adults. So we've come a long way in the last 10 years, but just because you've come a long way, you know, if you were so far behind, you've moved forward, but you're still at home plate.
Now, is the reporting of sexual abuse, is it just better reporting, or is the word getting out better to those people that that have been abused?
I think both. The word is getting out to those who have been victimized. They're feeling more empowered to be honest and to come forward. The media has helped with that. The publications, programs like this have helped. By the way, this is a wonderful idea. This is a wonderful concept.
Thank you.
I'm going to be supporting it several different ways in the future. But the word has gotten out to the common layperson, to the grassroots organizations. That has been a tremendous aid in helping to keep our children and our adults safe. And then there's just been the overall emphasis with laws and legislation to ensure that people are protected and taken care of.
Well, I've had this feeling within myself. Now, as a professional, you probably may not agree with me, but when I you see it all the time on television, you read about it in the newspapers, et cetera, or you hear about it through various other sources. And here lately, fathers raping their daughters.
Yes.
Okay. Teachers taking advantage of their students. What's the root? What do you, in your opinion, what's the root causes for some of this stuff?
Well, the root cause of a lot of foolishness and sexual abuse is just our sin nature. It's just the sin nature, the fallen state of man. I don't put nothing past anyone to do anything just because of the sin nature. And seeing that I've been brought on by Minister McQueen as part of the services come over church, I feel free to say sin nature.
Okay.
This fallen
Be
state of
raw,
man.
be raw, and let our millions of viewers worldwide know the real truth of the root causes
The
of
root
all of
cause,
this
the
stuff.
root cause of crime, violence, divorce, is sin. I can't say that in my counseling sessions, but that's what it is. It's just the fallen state of man, and we are attempting through relationship with God and Christ to get back to that state. From my counseling and psychology background, it's just unmet emotional needs throughout childhood in your life, and no sense of respect and love for someone else, and the sense of entitlement and self-serving. That I just feel like if I want something, I can take it, even if it's your sexuality. I can take it because my needs are more important than your needs. It is the sense of needing to feel dominant and superior to someone. So a lot of times these sexual acts are not a matter of actually the sex, it's the power, it's that feeling of intimidating and dominating someone. Those type of feelings need to be addressed throughout childhood, where our children are able to accomplish things, feel a sense of stability, so that when they're later on in life, they don't have to go out and dominate and take from people in that manner.
Well, how do you correct an adult's behavior when the parent? I have my own personal opinion, okay, and I'll share that with you too. But first, I'll listen to you. How do you correct a parent's or a acquaintance or a friend or aunt, uncle, cousin, brother, sister when they sexually abuse a family member?
Correcting behavior requires a severe consequence. Individuals who change their behavior do so not because they totally agree or because they feel like it. They just don't want the consequence of prison. They don't want the consequence of public embarrassment. Now, on a family level, when we find someone in our family who's abusing and taking advantage of children, we have to report them. We have to let everyone know that this person cannot be trusted around children. And if they ever come around, everybody needs to put out the word. If you know there's a person in your family that is taking advantage of children, keep them away from the children. Report them to the local authorities. Individuals who perpetrate against children, rapists, there's a strong opinion out there that they cannot be rehabilitated, that it's part of their core, it's part of their soulish realm, and they don't move far from that. What we want to do with them is help them curb those desires, help them restrain that, help them cage up those strong desires to take advantage of everyone and other people. How long can you keep it caged up? How long can you fight off those urges? I don't know that answer. So until we know that answer about this particular person, keep them away from children. Post their pictures on the internet. When they move into your neighborhood, let the folks in the neighborhood know who want to know there's a perpetrator. There's a pedophile now in your neighborhood. There are systems now in place through the media where you can find out who's moving where. Because awareness and knowledge is the best tool and weapon we have against sexual abuse, rape, and molesting children.
Because I know that, you know, proliferation of pedophilia is rampant. Not too long ago, I was looking on the internet, you know what I mean, and in my neighborhood, okay, I mean, the little squares were everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, and I'm sure that our millions of viewers worldwide out there, if you go on your internet, okay, and look this information up. Protect your family. Back to you, Reverend McQueen. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to monopolize anything here.
Oh, you're fine. I just wanted to say that when I went on the internet and did as you said, to find out how many perpetrators or predators were in just my zip code alone, it was 94. And that's just the ones that's registered. What about the ones that's not registered?
And the consequences you were talking about, I have but one consequence that I would put on somebody. I do like the Chinese do. Okay, a bullet behind the head. I don't advocate violence, but I think if somebody were to harm one of my children, then I may have to take a drastic step.
But it's one of those subjects, especially when you're dealing with children, that can really evoke a lot of emotions. I like to see us put those emotions and efforts on the front end to protect our children, as opposed to spending $200,000 to this inmate who, when they get out, they may or may not offend again. Let's put those $200,000 towards programming in our community and into our school systems to keep our children safe.
What is the success rate? With that help, the psychological help, the whatever else helps, whatever helps to maybe turn these pedophiles around. What's the success rate?
A true pedophile, I can't give you a specific percentage, but I will say a support system such as what AA offers those who are trying to overcome alcoholism, and all the other programming out there that helps keep individuals from going back to prison, the recidivism. I think with the involvement in those type of programs, the person has a better chance of not abusing children in the future. A true pedophile is not the one who really is molesting and taking advantage of the children. It is the person in the family who just gets the urge every so often that violates children and adults. A true pedophile may come one every 10,000 people, but little Johnny may be sexually abused by a cousin, and this cousin may get a hold of 10 to 15 different family members over a 10-year period. Would I call him a pedophile? I don't know if I would call him a pedophile, but he sure has a lot of the characteristics and traits that if he doesn't break that cycle, then he would meet that diagnosis. The people that are violating our children now probably would not be considered pedophiles until they've been arrested. They are just individuals who have no restraint in their sexual character, who would not only violate children, but would violate animals, would violate elderly women and elderly men. So it's not just children, it's just within them there's an inability to pull themselves back in their sexual area.
I'm gonna let you get going, Reverend McQueen. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Just jump right in whenever you get ready. What is the most powerful thing a person can do after they've been abused?
Do all they can to move forward. Don't ever give up and don't ever settle for less. Find yourself in the company of individuals who support you, who understand you. Connect yourself with a church that will discuss this subject, offer ministry, offer opportunities for you to heal and grow. That's what excites me about the opportunity to speak at your church on the 26th of March, that the church has come to the forefront to address this subject. It's no longer just the YWCA or the Boys and Girls Club. We have a local church that's looking to address this.
Okay. I just want to let our viewers know about the deliverance service that will take place March the 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. Doors will open at 5 p.m. The location is Eureka Bible Church of God in Christ, 1602 Delaware Street, Flint, Michigan, 48506. If you are in need of more information, contact me, Minister Patricia McQueen. My email address is mcq83@aol.com. There will be different agencies there to answer questions and give out much needed information. By the way, if you are an agency and would like to be a part of this event, we would be more than happy to have you there. Afterwards, there will be refreshments. Dr. Recco Richardson will be our speaker, and he will also have material you can purchase. I'll let him tell you about that.
Well, we just have brochures and articles, information that you can take home with you to further your knowledge and interest in the subject of sexual abuse. I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting ready to just let it rip one more time in the church house.
Okay.
Oh, one more thing I would like to let the viewers know is that after this service, the second week in April, a support group will be in effect. The date and time, location will be given out at the service on March 26th.
We've had a wonderful conversation. I want to thank you for joining us, Dr. Richardson and Reverend McQueen. This is Ronald Barry Robinson saying in my opinion, till next time, stay focused.